This is Lee. Let's build some slope soars. We're going to build the Matador and Samurai. We're going to start by cleaning the cores by rubbing them together and then gluing them together with a low temperature hot glue. We're going to trim the elevons by putting them on the back of the wing core and getting the appropriate angles. Make sure as you make two elevons that one is a right elevon and one is a left elevon. We're going to cut a slit around the outside of the plane, which is to insert a shock cord. Shock cord keeps the plane from tearing in an accident. Makes the plane very strong. This is the same technique we use when we're building combat planes. We're now going to take a regular ballpoint pen, take the tip off, and run the string through it. And we're going to use that as a guide to put the string or shock cord into the slit which we've already cut. Tie it off at the front. We're going to glue it in place with quick grip glue. It's one of my favorite glues. It dries fast, doesn't have a lot of odor. And I just put a bead of it around. It ties that shock cord right into the wing core. CA glue has lots of fumes. I don't recommend it on this process. Now make sure the bottom of the wing is up and cut a spar which is going to strengthen the plane. It's 6.5 inches back on the Matador or 5 inches back on the Samurai. Sand the spar and then mark the middle of the spar and put it in center of wing. We're going to put baking soda on the spar and the gap so that the CA glue that's gluing it in will set quicker. The baking soda acts as a catalyst. We're going to reinforce the plane with reinforced tape. The bidirectional E-tape is preferred, but you can use single direction if you wish. We're going to put 4 strips across the bottom of the plane and then 3 on the top of the plane. This makes the plane very indestructible. What's nice is you could peel it off and re-put it if you didn't get it just how you want it. Wrap the edges a little bit, and then we're coming back to the top. This tape will also help protect your radio and battery. We're now putting a strip of the reinforced tape along the leading edge, and it will tie all the loose ends from what we did in the center together. And it also makes it so that the plane can take a front hit and not take any damage. This tape has a braking strength of 150 pounds per inch, but adds very little weight to the total build. This plane is seen as going to come out at about 11 ounces, including radio and battery. We're doing the elevons. If you only have 2-inch tape, you need to cut a strip 1 inch wide. We put a 1-inch wide strip along the elevon, trim off the edges, and attach it to the wing core. We're going to do the same on the other side. This is different than we have done on some of the other planes. Usually we laminate before we attach, but I think you'll like this better. I'm using a household iron, which I use only on laminate because I don't want my glue on close. But I have already used an infrared thermometer to put marks on at 180 degrees and 220 degrees. Those are the 2 temperatures I use when I'm laminating. Household irons work better because they heat a lot faster and they have a lot more constant temperature. I'm now doing the top of the wing, and I'm ironing everything even over the hinge line. and I've left 2 inches behind the elevon. As I've cut it, I'm also wrapping the laminate up around the front of the elevon. This will, up around the front of the wing. This will give you 2 layers of laminate plus the tape on the leading edge. One of the big tricks is cutting the relief cuts on the end so that everything can move and so that you can iron it up. You just cut relief marks to where it can lay flat and then iron it down once it's flat. There's an art to it, but it's easy to figure out. Because the laminate is clear, I don't have to be quite so careful in how I lay it out. You notice I have a big piece on the left wing here, but the laminate sticks so well to itself, I don't have to worry about making individual pieces that fit certain parts. Once again, I'm hanging 2 inches over the back of the wing, and I'm ironing it in place. Once it's ironed down at the 180 degrees, I'll wrap the leading edge so it doesn't get folded up while I'm doing the elevons. But then I'll fold the laminate up and put it across the bottom of the elevon on the right wing. And then trim it so that everything lays flat. Since we're not using fuel, it's not a big deal if you have a place where a little bit of foam is exposed. But if you leave the tape exposed, the tape will yellow in the sun. Make sure that the elevons can move freely as you do this. Don't accidentally laminate them in place. We're going to now do the other side of the wing. And now on the bottom, as you can see with the spar there, we are leaving 4 inches behind because we're going to put laminate through the hinge line. We'll start the same way as usual of wrapping the leading edge to get it up and out of the way. But now watch carefully what we do with the elevon. We're going to fold the elevon down. We're going to trim it so it can fold without binding. And now the elevon is bound down, and we're going to iron it into the crease that's part of the hinge line. Now as you do this, you need to hang on to the elevon and make sure it's pushed against the core, or you'll leave a gap and it will come back up and not be even. And now we're going to iron the laminate clear up, and it will go clear up over the hinge line, giving a double layer of laminate on the top of the reinforced tape. And now I'm just doing my normal cuts that free up the elevon, make sure it lays flat, and tack it down with the iron. And make sure it moves freely. Trim anything that is hanging out and loose, and iron places down. It's more a process than an actual art form, I think. Let's do the other wing now. 4 inches of laminate behind the wing. We're ironing it down, but not ironing the elevon, or we'll be in trouble. So now we're going to wrap the leading edge and cut some relief holes here so that we can put laminate into the hinge line. And once again, just fitting this together so that I can wrap the hinge line. It will bind up if I don't get this out of the way. Now going in, we're now going to fold the elevon down, wrap it, and iron the hinge line. As I said, you've got to keep it pinched together. If they get separated while you're doing this, it won't lay flat when you're done. You'll still find that it wants to be up a little bit after you're finished, but you just bend it down and iron the hinge line and it will go back down. I built this plane in one evening, including radio. This does not take a lot of time. Now, once you've got laminate all over the plane at the low temperature, we're now going to turn the iron up to 220 degrees, which is about as much as if you put a drop of water on would boil on the bottom of the iron. And I'm going to iron this down and let it cool before I pick it up because it seals the adhesive to the foam. We're doing it again. Sealing it down at 220 degrees. And I even catch the edges on the elevons. But let it cool before you pick it up because the adhesive needs to cool. Now I'm trimming the back corners of the elevons, partially because they will get bent if you cartwheel the plane, but also it makes the plane look better. And it also keeps the elevon off the fin that's going to be on the end of the wing. Thank you for watching. And video 2 will show you how to install the radio.